Hey, how you doing today? I am Taquila Coleman. In today's video, we're going to talk about when witchcraft is involved in a God-ordained love story. So I need you to understand, when witchcraft is involved in a God-ordained love story, immediately God is going to place both of you and your spouse, in a divine separation, simply because witchcraft is involved. Witchcraft is the very thing God hates. It's the very thing God commands his children in the Bible to not do. Okay? You just got to read it, and you got to be able to understand what God is saying when you read this stuff. Okay? But witchcraft also changes God's original plans. Okay? This is why God hated. And witchcraft, for those who participated in it, it affects the bloodline. So whoever is, involved in witchcraft, whether they realize it or not, they are bringing a generational curse upon their children's lives. Okay, and I want us to take a look at this. Deuteronomy chapter 5. We're going to start at verse. Let's start at verse 6. Deuteronomy chapter 5, verse 6. It say, "I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of Egypt, out of the land of slavery. You shall have no other gods before me." Let's stop right here. Okay, you shall have no other gods. It's a lowercase g. No other gods before me. So witchcraft is another god you bowing down to, right? Witchcraft is going to psychics. Witchcraft is when you get your palm read or the tarot reading. Witchcraft is when you check your horoscope. You bowing down to another god. Witchcraft is when you communicating with the dead. When the dead show up in your dream and you receiving messages from them and you think that's your dead relative coming to visit you, no, we're not supposed to be talking to no one dead. Okay, the dead know nothing, right? So all this stuff is witchcraft. Okay, you put a spell on someone, you bowing down to another god. Okay, this is witchcraft, sorcery, black magic, white magic, any demonic altars, demonic rituals, witchcraft. All this stuff is witchcraft, okay? And you're bowing down to another god, okay? So it says, "You shall have no other gods before me," verse 8. "You shall not make for yourself an image in the form of anything in heaven above, or on the earth beneath, or in the waters below." Verse 9, "You shall not bow down to them or worship them. For I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, punishing the children for the sins of the parents to the third and fourth generation of those who hate me." So the generational curse is going to come upon the children who are communicating in their action who hate God. Well, when you fail to keep God's laws and commandments, you are now communicating to God, "I hate you." Scriptures say, "Those who love me will keep my commandments," right? So God is letting you know, okay, right off the back in the scriptures I just read, when you bow down to another God, when you participate in idolatry, because this is what I hate it so much that where I'm gonna punish your children. I'm gonna punish your children's children. I'm gonna punish the bloodline and bring a curse upon it. Okay, because witchcraft is the very thing that God hates, and it changes God's original plan. Now, let's say this another way. Many of you are dealing with love and separation spells. That's witchcraft, right? So before the love spell was placed on your spouse knew exactly who you was. They were showing interest in you. Y'all probably was going on a date. You probably was heading towards marriage. But soon as that love spell came into play, you're hit with rejection from your spouse. Now your spouse is confused all of a sudden. Now your spouse think you are the counterfeit. Your spouse think you Jezebel, right? And they rejected you, abandoning you. For my married couple, your spouse now saying, "I want a divorce." You see how witchcraft changes God's original plans? You see that? This is why God hated. Okay? So you have to understand, whenever witchcraft is involved, because God see everything. He's going to immediately put you and your spouse in a divine separation because this is what he hates. And God, he has to protect his believing spouse. So divine separation. And you will stay in a divine separation all the way until all of the witchcraft is gone. Okay. So for those of you who keep on saying, well, what about if my spouse dealing with a love spell? It doesn't matter. Divine separation. Even when the spell break off your spouse, God know what else is going on and what else needs to be cleaned up out of this love story. So you can't go ahead of God. You can't go ahead of God and decide for yourself, okay, I see the spell breaking, so it's time for my spouse and I to come back together. No, you gotta wait on God. Because it could be other thing at play here. It could be other witchcraft involved, that you know nothing about, right? God has to clean up both spouses. He got to get this love story on one accord. Okay. So understand. I need you all to understand. As a matter of fact, while you are in a divine separation, one of the things that you're supposed to be working on and just learning more and growing in is understanding witchcraft. This is what you should be, working on while you are in a divine separation. Whatever you're dealing with in your love story, don't just wait on someone to release a video on it. Seek it out. Begin to ask God, give me more information concerning this. Help me to understand what is a love spell, what is a separation spell. Help me to understand what a destiny transfer attempt is, right? You begin to get this education for yourself, get this knowledge for yourself. Okay? So whatever you're dealing with, use divine separation to help educate yourself. Learn the enemy's tactic. Learn why they put in that spell on your spouse. What is the motive? What is the intentions behind this spell? How does the enemy think or expect for me to respond to my spouse now that they are under a love spell? The enemy want the believing spouse to not recognize that this person is up under a love spell, and the enemy want you to reject your spouse and look at all this rejection that your spouse is giving you and get upset. The enemy want your heart to turn cold, and you tell God, I don't want this, and you walk away. This is what I want you all to start doing. I want you to begin to seek out these things, learn more about what's going on in your love story. Okay? Get understanding. And all thy getting, get understanding concerning what you're dealing with in your love story so that you understand how the enemy is moving. And when you understand these are the enemy's tactics, this is how the enemy is attacking my love story, I now know what to pray against. Okay? So understand when witchcraft is involved, God is going to place the two of you in a divine separation. And you don't come out of that divine separation until God tells you it's time. Okay? So with that, I am Taquila Coleman. I'll talk to you real soon. Take care.